everyone, my name is Abigail Litwinoff, and today I'm going to be looking at a few different artists and their take on anamorphic art. So what is anamorphic art? Well, I kind of define this type of art form as something where everything is never as it seems, or nothing is ever as it seems, as whoever you want to define that as. It's kind of looking at things in a different perspective, or looking at one thing from different viewpoints and being able to tell different stories from that one piece. So first off, to explain this, I'm going to be looking at a piece called Ambassadors by Holbein, and it's this picture right here. And the first thing I noticed when I looked at this picture is this piece down here. It kind of, at first glance, looked to me like there was a piece of wood coming out of the floor, and I thought that meant that there was a contrast between one side of the picture versus the other. And then I watched the video on it, and it explained it a little bit differently, and it showed a different viewpoint of looking at this photo. So imagine if you were in a museum and walking past the photo, and then you looked back and looked at it from a different angle, and you can see that this piece right here that kind of looks like it's coming out of the floor is actually a skull, which represents death in this photo. And then I also noticed that there's a musical instrument right here, and I found that the contrast between this musical instrument and the skull down here kind of represented like some life and death. So there's some themes going in there. There's a lot going on in this picture, but that's really what I picked up most from this picture. And what I think Holbein was really trying to achieve in here is that there's so many contrasts between different sides from the different objects on these two shelves, from the harp and the skull representing life and death and music and creativeness, and the different people on these sides. So that's one take on anamorphic art, is being able to look at something from different viewpoints and see a total different perspective from the artist's view. And anamorphic art is not just looking at something from different points of view, but how you interpret the message. So another piece that I really liked looking at this week was kind of a take on Jenny Holzer's type of work. I know it's a little bit backwards in this video, but what it says here and what's projected on this building says, "All the knowledge I've absorbed in my life, I now give up." And I kind of see this as two different types of phrases. You can either get rid of this bottom part and just look at the part that's projected on the building, which I think really resonates with me. It says, "All the knowledge I've absorbed in my life," and that kind of means that everything I've been ever learning in college, I'm trying to use all that knowledge I've learned to propel me in my career. And then on the bottom it just says, "And I now give up." So it's kind of like looking deeper into the message itself rather than specifically looking at the picture and trying to see literally a different picture from a different viewpoint. So I thought that was a really interesting take on anamorphic art, is looking more than just the physical visual part of the art, but what message behind the art means itself. So I thought that was pretty interesting to look at. And when thinking about a common theme or thread between artists in the 1500s and contemporary artists, I think the theme itself really is anamorphic art in general, being able to look at something from different viewpoints and realize that art isn't just something to look at. Usually, I think in very basic terms. I'm a much more math and science person. I like knowing that there's one right answer and one wrong answer. And this whole notion of anamorphic art to me is really enlightening, and it's allowing me to start looking at things from different perspectives. Obviously, like, I'm working to be a dietitian, and you always have to be able to look at healthcare in different perspectives because you're dealing with people. You're not dealing with numbers essentially only. You're dealing with people's lives, so you have to be able to look at things in different perspective. And I love how the whole ideal of artists using anamorphic artwork to convey a message really speaks to like different volumes, and how there's so much more than just what meets the eye. It's going deeper behind that message and really creating a sense of a difference between what you see and what's really lying underneath the surface. So I hope you enjoyed my analysis of anamorphic art, and thanks!